Fascinated by Florida's mysterious wildlife? In this beginner-friendly oil painting tutorial, we'll paint a dark alligator floating silently on the surface of dark reflective water, a stunning and moody subject straight from the Florida wetlands. With simple step-by-step guidance, you'll learn how to paint realistic water reflections, reptile textures, and dramatic lighting, all while building your confidence with oil paint. If you ever wanted to capture the mystery of Florida's wetlands with paint, this is your moment. Let's grab our brushes, mix those moody colors, and get started. See, even though this template's not to scale, well, it's pretty close, but it's smaller than what I actually want. It's nice having the template because I can position it on the canvas where I want it. And it gives me an idea. I can visualize what's going on here. And now I can trace it out onto the canvas. But remember, this thing that I'm tracing, this image that I'm tracing right now, is going to be smaller than what he actually is, because it's easier to enlarge the gator than it is to try to reduce the gator. Well, you can see I'm taking my time. I'm in no hurry right now. I'm using the gray titanium white, and I'm using my walnut oil as a medium. And I have it thinned down pretty good. It's not runny where it's going to run down the canvas, but it is fluid where it will flow over the canvas nice and smooth. Because I want this to look like water. These are highlights of water, and I want it to look like water. So, this is just a base coat that I'm putting on right now. An underpainting, if you want to call it that. And I'm going to have another layer or a few layers on top of this with detailed waves. But this is just to cover up a lot of that dark brown. So these are just going to be highlights, and I'll have details on top of these. But I make sure that paint is nice and thinned out pretty good, so it just flows over the canvas. Now these waves here, I'm starting to direct the waves in a way where it looks like he's moving through the water. like his nose is pushing through the water, so you're going to have that wake. So I'm putting that in right now. There's like a small wake. This is calm water too. This is not going to be rough water, but it's just the highlights of the water, and then I'm going to have details on top of this. But it's just gray, titanium white, and the walnut oil as a medium. That's it. All right, what I'm doing right now is I'm softening up the look of this water with a few bristles and a little bit of air. I'm lightly going over it, giving it some crisscross patterns here. I want this water back here to be very blurry. It's like out of focus. I want the head of the alligator to be in focus and everything in the distance to be kind of out of focus. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just hypnotizing everything. Kind of dragging some of that paint across the canvas there. Just kind of blending it. But it's not supposed to look clear. It's supposed to be blurry. Using this brush here to tap on some highlights of water, like sparkles in the water. I'm going to blend those out too. This is just to add some highlights. It's easier to do that than to individually go in there with a little brush and put all those little dots in. Everything's a little tacky right now, so that blush brush isn't working very well. So I'm using this brush here to kind of drag the paint across the canvas. I'll just keep working the paint until I get it the way I want it. Pressing pretty hard on that paint. Now the water that's closest to us is going to be very clear, so I have to make sure that's nice and clear. But in back there it's real blurry. I'm just rubbing it in. Just fixing up some areas that were blended out a little too much. Putting in some highlights. Later on, I'll put some little sparkles in it later on, but right now I'm not worried about it. Because the water's supposed to be blurry, so I'm not really concentrating on that. It's going to be the front part and the alligator that I'm going to worry about. Now this paint is pretty thin. I thinned it down with walnut oil, medium. Right there gives you an idea of what I have. So I'm going to start working on the front part now. This water that's closest to us now that I'm putting in is pretty bright water, has a lot of reflections from the sky. So I'm just putting all that in, and I'm putting in the direction, the flow of water, like that wake that he's creating as he's swimming through the water. Now I'm just concentrating on getting that white on, the white and the blue, cobalt blue I'm using. Still leaving some of that brown to come through because that's the part of the wave, the shadows. But this is all highlights that I'm putting in right now. Adding some cobalt blue. It's going to look like a mess right now, but we'll get there. But you can see the flow of the water. I'm creating these ripples, these lines. Now this paint's really thin. I used walnut oil, so I'm using a very fine brush so I can get nice, soft, flowing paint, just like water. You don't want any harsh edges. You want it to be nice and soft. Just let it flow. But I'm going in the direction of the waves. Now that's layer 2. Got another layer coming. It's kind of like what it looks like. That's all the highlights. Reflections from the sky. Now this is the next day. This is layer 3. Now what I'm doing now is I'm looking for those shadows, those brown spots, like right here. Now my paint is very thin, it's watery. Not too watery where it's going to run down the canvas. And I'm putting it on very lightly, soft. I want those nice soft edges. Now when I put it on, I kind of soften the under part of that line. Now that's all I'm looking for, is the direction of those waves and where's the brown, the shadows. That's what I'm concentrating on. Don't worry if it looks right or wrong. Just go with the flow. Softening it up. It's got to be real soft. Now, don't even think about what you're doing. Just do it. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just make sure it's nice and soft and you're in the shadow areas. See, I'm looking for that shadow. There's the shadow. I'm going to highlight it. I'm softening it. I'm going to soften the under part of that wave. Just moving the paint around. Soften the under part of that line. Right there, softening it. So all I'm doing, I'm looking for those brown areas, those shadow areas, and I'm just enhancing them. There's a shadow. Let's enhance that. Everything has to be nice and soft and flowing, so that paint is thinned down pretty much. A lot of these shadows I'm putting in around the alligator, you probably won't even see, because when I put the alligator in, he's pretty big. He's going to cover up a lot of that stuff. But we'll put him back in later. Now what I'm trying to do too is, you got to remember, you got to try to balance everything out. What you do over on one side, you might want to do on the other side too, just to balance things out slightly. See, things, they don't look right now, but you just have to have faith in the process. Just got to just keep pushing forward. Just looking for those shadows, those brown areas, and I'm just enhancing them. But I'm going in the flow of the water. I'm not taking out all the white, because the white is the highlights. That's what we did yesterday. So we don't want to lose that. We're just looking for the shadow parts. Now I'm using a little liner brush, and I'm doing the same thing but very fine lines, and I'm just using the tip of that brush. I'm not using the whole brush. So I'll dip that brush in the paint, and I just touch the canvas, and I might only get a line out of it. That's it. So it's like lay a line, clean the brush. I have another paper towel on the side there, but each time I got to clean that brush because I keep picking up paint. So I clean off the tip there, pick up some paint, and I go back to the canvas and I lay one more line. Then I'll clean it off, pick up some paint, come back to the canvas. And these are all little ripples that I'm putting in. Now don't pay attention, don't get worried, just put them in, because ripples are everywhere. And I'm just using the tip. I'm not using the whole brush. I'm only using a few hairs to put that paint on. And this paint is the same paint I had before. It's very thin, very watery. Well, not watery, but... And each line that you put on, you want to soften it too. Because everything has to be nice and soft. You don't want harsh edges on this. See, I'm making mistakes right there because, see, I'm at a weird angle painting, and my hand just, I'm just messing up with the brush. But I just keep softening it, and I work it. I fix it. I'm using that bigger brush now to soften it. But even if you make a mistake, it's okay because you can fix it, like I'm doing here. Sometimes mistakes work in your favor too. It's like, ooh, how'd that happen? It's like, that was good. So don't worry too much. Just one line. And if you start working too fast, you're going to get sloppy like I did prior. That's where I made the mistake. I started working fast. You got to go slow. You got to concentrate on that one line. Because if you go fast, that's when you get sloppy. Just don't worry about what you're doing. Just keep putting those ripples in, because water has ripples everywhere. Might not look right, but in the end it will. Now, we're not trying to do realism here. We're not trying to create a photograph. We're doing a painting. This is an illusion of water. So all we're doing is when you're like standing 5, 6, 8 feet away, maybe it looks like water, but when you get close, you'll see it's a painting. And that's what we're doing. So as you keep doing it, things start happening. It starts to look like water. So you just got to just keep going with the flow. Just keep doing it. Because sometimes when you put 2 or 3, 4, 5 lines in, 6 lines, 10 lines, it just doesn't look right. But you just got to believe in yourself and just keep pushing through and see what it looks like in the end. Just don't even think about it. Just do it. I mean, it's just paint. You can always wipe it away and do it again. Just looking for those brown spots, those shadow areas. Just enhancing everything. And I'm keeping it nice and soft. Water is nice and soft. That's what you want. Everything's got to flow. I'm always going in the direction of the waves. Now I'm using a nice clean little teeny brush here. Nice clean one. And I'm putting in little highlights, little dots, little lines that I'm putting in. These are little sparkles, little twinkles on top of the water. Now this paint here is not thin. I just took this and went right into the titanium white. I dipped the brush into the titanium white. Have a little dab on the tip there. And I just touched the canvas. There's a little teeny line there. As soon as your brush gets a little dirty, you just wipe it off like I did there. Pick up some more white, put a little dot. Little dot, a little line, little line, little dot. That's all you're doing. You're just putting them wherever. Down here, I'm putting more lines in than I am dots. But still, it's a reflection. It's a highlight. Here's a clean, dry brush. Now I'm going to use just a few hairs on this brush. I'm not using the whole brush. It's just a few little teeny hairs. And I'm touching those dots that I just put on. I'm softening those dots. I don't want them to be harsh. But going vertical, up and down, creates a little twinkle, a little sparkle. So I'm just softening each line, each little dot. If you push too hard, you're going to lose it. So I'm only using a few hairs on that brush. So I'm just touching it to soften it. And I don't want to lose that dot. Just lightly touch it. Just lightly touch it. Cleaning off that brush. Because if you don't clean it off, you're going to move that white paint to another location. It's going to get muddy on you. So you always have to have a clean, dry brush. So I'm always cleaning it off on that paper towel I have down there that you can't see. So I always have a clean brush. And I'm doing the same thing here, just lightly softening it. If that brush tip gets dirty, I clean it off. That's what we're looking for, is nice, soft water. But we're not doing a photograph here, so that's not our goal. We're just putting the paint on a canvas. We want the illusion of water. Just softening that a little bit. If you work it too much, you'll lose it, so you don't even want to touch it. We're going to let this totally dry now, because the next thing is the alligator. We want to put the template on it, and you can't have wet paint if you put the template on it. So we have to let it totally dry. Give it like 3 or 4 days. And here's what we have. The water, I would say, is done. Next is the alligator. Well, it's been like 4 days now. It's totally dry. Safe enough to put the template on. Got that little piece I want to cut out. It's no big deal. Now I'm just trying to line it up to with what I had before. I can see the line, a faint line right there. I mean, this is just a guidance. It doesn't have to be exact. Because the template's a lot smaller than what the alligator's actually going to be. I will be going outside these lines later. But this is just the start. I start small and then I work my way out. I'm going to be using black paint here, thinned down so it's watery. So it just flows. Just tracing this template out. Here's my outline. Now I'm just going to put black paint in here to block out the background. Now the reason why I'm using black paint is because he's a dark alligator, and they're kind of like dark black, dark brown. And then I'll be using light grays for all the highlights and stuff, but this is as like a base. I'm trying to stay within those lines there. Once I start seeing the alligator, once I start painting him, I'm going to start seeing things, and I'm going to start to expand outside these lines. This is just a start. It's easier to start small and work my way out than it is to start big and try to work my way back in, because you can't take that water and fix it, because that water's finished. So you don't want to mess with that water. So right now I'm using a brown and white, titanium white paint, just to start kind of like sketching them out. I'm just trying to see what's going on here. I'm just moving paint around. That's all I'm doing. This is so I can get a visual on what's going on, you know, like, because I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm looking at my image, trying to see where the eye is. This is the eye that I'm working on now. I'm trying to figure out the size of the eye and where it is in proportion to his head, and that's his cheek right there, and his nose. Just trying to get everything in order, the angles. Now just remember, I'm just putting paint on the canvas, and I'm just going to be moving it around. This is just to get a visual. That's all I'm doing. This is not the actual art part. This is just to get a visual on what he looks like. And I have to remember too, his eye is almost like the most important part. That eye right there. That's the center of his whole body, really. Everything's going to be focused off that eye. So I'm going to make the eye larger than what that space is right there, and then I'm going to start to expand the head. The head's pretty good, a big size. It's a good size head. But again, I'm starting small with the eye. The eye's going to get a lot bigger than what it is. Trying to get a shape of his head right there, and his cheek. See, the back of his head's there. I'm just trying to get an idea of what's going on here. There's the center of his head. That goes down to his nose. Just trying to figure out that line that goes to the center part of his head. Comes down at an angle like that and goes right to his nose. Now I'm thinking about his nostrils, I think, right there. That's what I'm thinking about. Because his nose, half of his nose is underwater there, so I have to kind of like visualize just his nostrils above the water, and the other part between his nostrils and his eyes are going to be like underwater, kind of. So I'm just trying to like figure everything out. That's all I'm doing. You can do this. All I'm doing is moving paint around. That's it. Just looking at my image and trying to like duplicate that. That's all I'm doing. Just adding and subtracting. But his head's going to be bigger, but I don't want to go outside the lines yet until I know exactly how everything's proportioned. So I'm focusing on his eyes and his nose right now. Then I'll start to go outside the lines and make him bigger according to the image. I keep focusing in on this eye, but for some weird reason it's this nose that's driving me crazy. It's the angle of the nose and everything. It's too high out of the water. That nose has to be kind of submerged under the surface of the water. And that eye and everything is throwing me off. I have to get that nose underwater. I just don't like the angles yet. All right, I gotta start over here. See, there's not a lot of paint. I'm just like still, it's a stain. That's what I got on there. But right now I gotta put this nose underwater, and then I'll work on the eye. So I'm bringing that water over the nose, between the nostrils and the eyes. See, I'm pushing the paint. I can always fix that later. But right now I gotta get that nose underwater. So the nostrils are sticking out of the water, but that portion of the nose is underwater, and then his eyes. And I just made his head a little wider, changing the angles, going outside the lines, which I'm afraid of doing. But see, I'm opening up that head, making it wider. I'm starting to put some water over his nose so I can get a better visual on what's going on here. I mean, just working with that black silhouette was hard to see what was happening. But this looks like it's going to work. I mean, this is all going to change, but I'm just doing this so I can see what's going on. So that looks good. Yeah, I already put the eyes in and they were wrong, so I don't want to bore you with that part. But I'm going to show you me removing the eye. And luckily the background is nice and dry, because I couldn't be able to do this if that background was wet. So I'm just going to erase it with my finger. Just get rid of the eye and move the eye back. Using the paper towel there. See, that's where the eye's got to be. The eyes has to be farther back. He has a nice long nose, so the eye's got to go way back. See, now that looks right. Yeah, that'll work. see these rib lines that I'm putting in for his skin are good, but I'm putting them in at the wrong angle. The left-hand side of his body seems a lot higher out of the water than the center of his body. Just an illusion. See how it looks a lot higher? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lower the left-hand side of his body. It's just an illusion, so I'm just going to change the angles, that's all. See, now what I'm doing is changing the angle, so I'm lowering the left-hand side of his body, and I'm going to raise the center just by changing the angles. See how his left-hand side now seems lower in the water? And I'm raising those ribs, those center spines that he has. I'm just going to open up his jaw right here, make his head a little wider in the water. See, sometimes working on one part of his body might change the other part of another part of his body. So, you know, you just go back and forth and fix things and make things work. See, I'm extending the back end of his body, raising the center part. Now, the back of his body is going to be all blurry anyway. Just like the water is all blurry, out of focus. As we get closer to his head, everything's going to come into focus. See, I'm changing the angle of those ribs. Right now I'm doing everything just to get an idea, see what's happening. It's just throwing paint on the canvas and moving it around. That's all I'm doing. I have window glare coming in from my right-hand side here. Sorry about that. Now I'm matching his body to the water, adding a shadow in the water. I'll do more work on that later. Little water line there, reflective water line. All right, looks like we have the angles right. Looks good. appreciate you tuning in. If you'd like to discover more about this art piece, please visit Salty Air Artistry's website. Thanks once again for tuning in. And if you do like this video, please like and subscribe because it helps me create more painting content for you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.